Who knew that there was an eye miniature craze in the late 18th and early 19th century, and it all started with King George IV. Now, some Americans are a bit more familiar with George IV's father, King George III, who presided over Britain's unsuccessful attempt to thwart our revolution in the 1770s and 1780s. George III famously suffered from bouts of mental illness. In fact, his son, then Prince George, served as regent of England during his father's last difficult years before becoming king. But while George III was a political and social conservative, his princely offspring was, well, a bit of a hellion. Born in 1762, Prince George liked his liquor, his horse racing, his money, and his women. To the horror of Dad, he became a supporter of the radical politician Charles James Fox, advocate of the American and French revolutions. And if this wasn't bad enough, one evening at the opera, the future king met the love of his life. Not long after his 21st birthday, Prince George became totally obsessed with one Maria Fitzherbert, a strikingly beautiful woman 6 years his senior. Maria was a widow. In fact, she was a widow twice over, but happily, her second deceased hubby left her a bit of an income, allowing her to spend time socializing with the London smart set. This got the widow Fitzherbert an introduction to Prince George, who, completely bowled over by her looks and charm, endlessly pursued her until she agreed to get married, which they did in secret. Why all the hush-hush? Well, the marriage was not legal, of course, because Prince George's father had not approved it, and certainly would not have because, among other reasons, Maria Fitzherbert was a Catholic. But news of the wedding got around, as did intel that the prince had given her a gift, an image of one of his eyes wearable as a pin. Here is the eye miniature that Fitzherbert gave to George in return. As strange as these objects might seem to some now, they became ubiquitous among the English and European upper class. As the writer Sasha Archibald notes, artists and artisans set them in rings, lockets, brooches, and toothpick cases. They were often gifted between lovers. Archibald further writes, "Luminous, exquisite, and fragile, lovers' eyes did not mean, as it might seem, I have my eye on you, but rather, you have my heart, and here's my eye to prove it." That was certainly the case with Prince and then King George IV, who remained deeply attached to Maria Fitzherbert for the rest of his days. Well, when he wasn't partying with one of his 5 successive mistresses. In any event, King George IV died in 1830 and was buried with an eye miniature of Maria tucked into his grave.